Okay, we're recording. What I would ask is for you to first introduce yourself and talk about responsibility. Is it a Jewish value to care for your body? And then you can roll into at what age.
Rabbi Yisrael Rosenfeld, Dean of Yeshiva Schools and Rabbi of Lubavitch Center. When it comes to caring about our bodies, this is one of the greatest responsibilities that we as humans, and certainly we as Jews, have for ourselves. As Jewish people, we should recognize that our physical bodies are on loan to us from Hashem. We have to do all that we can to make sure that we do the best we can to take care of our physical bodies. It's only a loaner to us. And when we take care of it the way we should, that's what Hashem is happy with.
Great. Age of consent. What does it mean to become an adult? What are some of the avenues to get information when you're trying to solve a problem? Like, should I get a vaccination?
As children get older, obviously when they become bar or bas mitzvah, so they have the responsibility from a Jewish perspective for many different things. But then again, there's the legal responsibilities that children will get as they become mature adults. And in every country it's different. But there's no question that when it comes to responsibilities that each and every one of us have for our physical bodies, whatever the issues may be, as we get older, and we become more mature, whatever the age may be, as soon as we have an understanding of the importance of it, we then, along with the understanding, carry responsibilities to do what we have to.
Excellent. Let's do the vaccination big question, individual versus community. It's going to hurt. I don't want it. And then please talk about policy here.
We don't live in an island all by ourselves. We live in a world, and we have a responsibility to ourselves as well as an equal responsibility to the people around us. So just being satisfied that I've done all that I can for myself, and I've taken care of myself, I've taken care of my own health, without caring about people around me, is being irresponsible. And as a result of which, schools around the country have established policies as to whether they obligate the families, the children that join the schools, to make sure that they have all the responsible vaccinations that are necessary to be sure that they protect themselves and the other children that they come in contact with. One of the beautiful things of the community of Pittsburgh is that all the schools got together and made a policy that we will not accept any child into any one of the day schools unless they have the proper vaccinations, which is really beautiful to know, because anybody that moves to Pittsburgh or thinks about moving to Pittsburgh will know that we can only move here and put our children into a day school if we take care of the vaccinations, which then protects the child as well as protects all the other children in the community. Just recently, I had a call from a family who was considering sending their child here, and after going through many of the things, many of the questions that they had about the school, the first thing I said to them, that be aware that unless your child is vaccinated, there's nothing to think about, because we have a policy, as do the other schools in Pittsburgh, that you have to have all the vaccinations taken care of.
Excellent. We didn't talk about this, although you answered it last time, about people who say they have a religious exemption, and that's why they're using Judaism as an excuse not to be vaccinated.
There's a concept in Judaism, the Mishnah says, Asay lecha Rav, which means that every person is obligated to have a rabbi that they abide by, that they ask their questions by. So for anybody to say that I feel that I can, based on Jewish law, do this, that, or the other, or not do this, that, or the other, that's irresponsible. If somebody comes and tells me that their rabbi has said that this is what they need to do, I'd like to talk to their rabbi. I'd like to hear what their rabbi has to say, and then discuss those issues with them, because as was mentioned earlier, there's no question in my mind that it's a responsibility of every individual to take care of his health and to make sure that he does all that he can to protect the health of the people around him.
Excellent. I really want to get the story of the Rebbe. That's about when someone finds out they have a diagnosis of something. When does a parent tell a child? So for you just to say some of the factors, I can't say what I would answer because there are so many different factors. But these are things that would go into my decision making, and then telling the Rebbe story. Gosh, that would be great. Okay.
Regarding sharing with parents or counseling parents as to when they should share with their children, when the child should share it with their friends, with their teachers, every situation is individual. And it really means to be discussing with each individual child what the circumstances are, what the child is like, and how he can deal with things. But I think first and foremost, what's important is for the parents themselves to have an understanding of what they're dealing with. And just to give you a little bit of an example, I know of a story where many years ago, a family came to the Rebbe, telling the Rebbe that they were just told that their child has diabetes. And obviously, they felt terrible about it, and they really didn't know how to share it with their child, what to tell him, and how he should go on with his life living with this. And they wrote to the Rebbe that they were told about this disease that they were just informed about. And the Rebbe responded to them, and I don't know if I'm quoting it exactly, but certainly something similar to that, Ein ze disease chas v'sholem. This is not a disease. This is not the perspective, the way you should be looking at it, that it's a disease. Elo matzav haguf hatzarech zehirus. This is a situation that you're dealing with, that you have to be careful about, you have to do the right things, and you have to live your life knowing that just like we all have to be sure to eat the right foods, drink the right drinks, you may have some specific things that you have to be more careful about. But it's not a disease that you have to be concerned about. You have to live your life like a normal person with that perspective. Whatever the situation may be, it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's a whole different perspective in going on with life.
Great. Is there anything else you want to include in this tape? Are we okay? We do have the Kibbutz Ava aim issues, but I don't know if they'll really come up necessarily in the Orthodox schools. What do you do if a child comes out at a different place than a parent when it comes to a health decision?
Kibbutz Avim is a very important mitzvah in the Torah. But, along with the mitzvah of Kibbutz Avim, both the child and the parent have an obligation of aseh lechorav. They need to establish a rov that they both will go to and follow the rabbi's opinion. So, of course, there are different opinions. Children may have different opinions than the parents, and even respectfully so. But then they both have to agree, so let's go ask our rabbi, let's go ask our rov. And he will then determine as to, based on these different decisions, these different opinions, what the halacha tells the person to do, the child, the parent, based on what the rov says.
Do you want to add something about the fact that if it was a medical thing, that you wouldn't just make a decision without consulting an expert in that kind of medicine? Just because people who don't know about going to a rabbi are going to see this. They're not going to understand.
You might ask, what would a rabbi know about medical issues? But a rabbi is one that understands that too, and knows that whatever the issue may be, you have to go to the expert in the field. So unless the rabbi happens to be a medical doctor as well, there's no way in the world that he will make a decision on his own without talking to a doctor or getting the advice of the doctor and getting the professional opinion of a doctor regarding a particular situation. So a rabbi doesn't just decide on his own what to do. If it's a medical issue, you go to a doctor. If it's a scientific issue, you go to a scientist. You have to go to the professional in the field.
Excellent. I'm fine. Is there anything else you want to add? I think this is perfect.